All right, good Friday evening, everybody. I'm David Paul. This is the KHOU11 Weather Center. We're upstairs in the weather office, and we've got a situation where the Hurricane Center now gives our tropical wave, which has now moved over land, it's over the Yucatan Peninsula, gives it an 80% chance for development as it gets into the southwest Gulf of Mexico. That will be on Sunday and Monday. So environmental conditions are looking a little bit more favorable. That we may actually get a closed circulation that would upgrade it to a tropical depression, perhaps strengthen to a tropical storm. There are a couple of things working against this possible development, and then there's one big factor working for its possible development. Let's go over everything. Here's where we stand right now, and you can see on the infrared enhanced satellite, there's nothing organized. Scattered thunderstorms all over the place. But what you've got here is a huge slug of deep tropical moisture, and the northern edge of it is right here. You can see how dry it is up toward Houston. Texas, Louisiana have enjoyed a lovely, almost fall-like day with low humidity and a north breeze, but that won't last. As we get into Sunday afternoon and Monday, that slug of moisture is going to move in, and perhaps something will begin to develop in the Gulf of Mexico. Now, when I say develop, what I mean is, and what the Hurricane Center means by an 80% chance for development, is an 80% chance that this tropical wave will become a closed low. In other words, get a complete circle of wind blowing all the way around a center of circulation. And we don't have that right now. Here's the way it stands Friday evening. We've got easterly winds coming in off the Caribbean Sea. We've got northeasterly winds here, almost due out of the north here in the western quadrant, but notice there are no westerlies. So at the moment, what we have is this. We have an open wave. Winds coming in, curving down, but not closing off a low. They head on back. So that's an open wave, a tropical wave. But sometimes, if conditions are right, you will get that to close off an area of low pressure, and when that happens, that's what we mean by development. A closed low would mean a tropical depression had formed, and now you've got a center of circulation where nature can attempt to intensify and close off and tighten up and become a stronger low, maybe a tropical storm. So 80% chance for that to happen somewhere in the southwest Gulf, south of Brownsville, Bay of Campeche, as we head into Sunday and Monday. So let's look at the factors working against this happening. And the biggest factor will be what's going on in the upper level winds. These are winds up at 34,000 feet, and this is going into Saturday. So we think our little wave will be moving in here on Saturday, and it will be encountering southwesterly wind shear. Winds blowing at the upper levels across the system as it tries to develop out of the southwest. That tends to disrupt any circulation that's trying to develop. So that's working against it developing into that closed low. That's Saturday. It's interesting, on Sunday, the shear actually increases, but it's almost due out of the south, so blowing south to north. So that will be the same direction that our little area of low pressure is trying to develop. So it'll be kind of moving along with the environment. That may actually give it a little better chance of getting better organized as it moves along with that wind, so it's not so much blowing up across and against it. But what this pattern will also do is blow a whole lot of that moisture up out of the south and right up into the coast of Texas. So I think Sunday afternoon, especially going into the evening hours, we'll begin to see rain chances really begin to increase in earnest across the Texas coast, across the upper Texas coast, Houston, Galveston as well. That wind shear. So a healthy storm, if you will, needs good inflow, clean inflow through the storm. You've got surface winds coming in toward a center. That air rises, cools, condenses, rotates around the center, and then exits out the top, the exhaust out the top. And what a storm needs to develop is a perfectly up and down vertical stacked circulation. That helps it intensify. That wind shear I showed you works against that perfectly vertically stacked storm developing. It tilts the storm over. That wind shear cutting across at high levels will rip the storm apart or keep a storm from ever developing. So wind shear disrupts the flow. If you don't want a storm to form, you want to see wind shear out there. So that's what's working against possible development. What's working for it is how warm the waters are out over the Gulf of Mexico. 85, 87 degrees, very warm water, and it's deep. There really hasn't been much tropical activity at all in the western Gulf of Mexico over the past month or so. So this water is warm, it's deep. You know, as these storms develop and move over the water, they tend to upwell, which can bring up cooler water from deep underneath. But in this case, the ocean heat content runs down hundreds of feet down below the surface. So there is just a ton of energy out there to feed a developing storm. So it's that warm water that is working for the possible development. So what does all this equal? What are, the computers are looking at all of this. What do they indicate is going to happen? Well, this is interesting. So we go into Saturday, 2 in the afternoon. Our little X, our little developing wave, is still just that. Notice this. See, it's an open wave. But look, it's trying right there to bend winds around. We need that westerly component across the southern flank of that storm to cut off a low. But we don't have that on Saturday. It's still an open wave. That changes going into Sunday. This is the Euro, and it has consistently suggested the past 36, 48 hours that we're going to see an actual low pressure area form. We've got winds rotating completely 360 degrees around a center. And so that would, at this point, Sunday afternoon, perhaps become a tropical depression. That's the definition of a cut-off low. We've got a complete low level center with winds blowing all the way around. So that would be a tropical depression. But notice this, you've got the center of the depression here. Notice how it's elongated to the north. So that's an impact of those upper level winds already trying to tip the storm over and blow all that moisture to the north. What this ends up doing is, although you may have a center down here near Tampico, you can still have heavy rain on the Texas and Louisiana coast going into Sunday night. So we'll begin to see rain chances increase Sunday afternoon and Sunday night. Going into Monday afternoon, maybe a tropical depression, perhaps a weak tropical storm. Nicholas is the next name on the list. And the Euro's been very consistent with this, bringing in whatever low pressure intensity forms into about the Brownsville area, King Ranch area. So that's Monday afternoon. So you would expect heavy rain, King Ranch to Corpus to maybe Matagorda Bay as we went into Monday afternoon. But also this, pockets of heavy rain moving into the Houston-Galveston area, also Monday afternoon, maybe also into Louisiana, Lake Charles, Lafayette. You could see heavy rain from a storm 500 miles to your south and west because that shear is tipping it over. It's tilting it toward the Texas and Louisiana coastline. We go into Tuesday. Euro still has a closed low over land. So once it's over land, it won't strengthen. It'll begin to weaken, but it can still maintain a little bit of rotation. And this is a setup for heavy rain. This is Tuesday at noon. And this may be when the upper Texas coast, Galveston and Houston, will be at risk for getting the heaviest rain. I think street flooding is the greatest threat Sunday night, Monday, Tuesday. We're going into this situation across Texas where we're very dry. We've had a dry spell. All the creeks and bayous are down at the bottom of their channel, so we've got lots of room in there for rain. Vegetation is still growing. Grass and trees are still in their growing phase, although they're beginning to sense that fall is coming. Some of the leaves are beginning to fall. But that helps, those roots and all the plants pulling moisture up out of the soil. That process is still going on. It's called evapotranspiration, and it's very important to help mitigate a flood threat. So we've got that going for us, but this is a threat for very heavy rain. You could see rainfall rates 3, 4, 5 inches per hour at times in some locations Monday, Tuesday. So that's Tuesday. Rain threat continues. It's not until Wednesday afternoon that our low moves to the northeast of Houston. So that will put Houston, Galveston on the dry side. The weak side of that rotation will dry out. But that does put Lake Charles, Lafayette, even central Louisiana, Alexandria. So it may be that Wednesday is Louisiana's very wet day as that surface low continues to show up on the computer modeling. And look at the fetch of moisture coming off the Gulf of Mexico. So fetch is the length the wind is blowing over water. And it will be gathering that moisture off the Gulf for hundreds of miles and then pulling it right into the Louisiana coast. So this is nothing like an Ida or a Laura. We're not looking at a big hurricane. We're not looking at that at all. I don't think this will be a wind threat at all. This is a heavy rain threat. Even a weak circulation can focus rain bands, and that's what we'll be watching for. Little boundaries that set up. You can get a rain band, And in that type of tropical atmosphere with a center to rotate around and pull it in, it can create rain bands that cause very heavy rain in some isolated areas over a short period of time. So that's the timeline we're looking at. How much rain are we going to get? It's still too early to pinpoint who would get the heaviest rain, but in general, you get the idea. As we head into Sunday, Monday, Tuesday, especially going into Sunday, Monday, heaviest rain Corpus to Brownsville, and you're in that 3 to 5, 5 to 7 inch range on the Texas coast, especially going through Monday, Tuesday. You know, that 3 to 5, 5 to 7 inch band extends well inland north of the 59 corridor in southeast Texas, and heaviest rain right on the coast. The beaches could see 5 to 7 inches easily. Look at Lake Charles. You're also in that 5 to 7 inch widespread rainfall total. I really do think that some places could pick up 10 inches or more in some spots, but in general, north and west of 59, I've got 1 to 3, and it may be a very sharp cutoff. Quite often in these situations, you'll get a little boundary set up near the coast, and that will squeeze out very heavy rain in the coastal counties. Lake Charles, that's you, Cameron Parish, Calcasieu Parish. That will squeeze out very heavy rain in the first or second tier of county and then just cut off all the moisture further inland. Remains to be seen if it's going to play out like that. But that's, in general, what we are looking at going into Sunday night, Monday, and Tuesday. So whatever your plans are, Texas coast, Louisiana coast, be advised to be ready to adjust or just, stay very close to the forecast with us through the weekend. As we've seen these weak tropical systems, they're notorious for being heavy rainmakers. They could cause flash flooding. Bayou flooding is not out of the question in spots. It's something we'll be watching and tracking very carefully through the weekend. So again, this is for Houston timeline, but you've seen this extends all the way across Texas, Louisiana. For Houston proper, rain chance increases Sunday afternoon and evening. Monday, heavy rain threat in the morning and in the evening. Tuesday, heavy rain threat continues in the morning and in the evening. It's not until Wednesday that we back down on the rain chance in Houston. But as I showed you, Wednesday may also be a very heavy rain threat for southwest and central Louisiana. That's on Wednesday. That's where we stand right now. We're all enjoying in Texas and Louisiana low humidity and a beautiful Friday night. But it's interesting how quickly things can change, especially at the peak of hurricane season, September the 10th. So we will have another update on the TV side, KHOU 11 News at 10. You can watch us live. If you're outside of Houston, we're live on khou.com. You can stream us there and get the latest update. You can always stream us there at khou.com and get the latest update. That's the update for now. We'll see you live at 10 o'clock for our next update.